Hi everyone, very good morning, good evening. Welcome back to ITOM batch 3, day 7. How are you doing guys today?
Doing good, Ajay. Thank you.
Doing good, Ajay. Thank you.
Good to hear. Thank you. So again, before proceeding to the today's session, do you have any questions from the earlier sessions which we have covered till now?
Ajay, I have a question on the previous session
Yes.
regarding horizontal and top-down discovery. How
Mm-hmm.
can we say that, this is done from the horizontal and this is done from the top-down discovery? Is there any way to identify that?
Yes, definitely. That is completely different, right? So in the both phase, in horizontal and top to down discovery, the both plugins are completely different. Horizontal discovery comes with the discovery plugin and top to down discovery comes with service mapping plugin, right? So as I mentioned, on the first step, you have to discover the device. Normally that is horizontal discovery, and top of it, if you are making a logical architecture of the particular service, that can be application service or business service, to showcase that this is the component belongs to that particular service, that is top to down discovery. That is completely different basically to each other, right? So I have my instance, and definitely I will showcase you some here as well.
And in which scenario when we need to run this discovery like that, how can we decide?
Okay.
Yeah.
So scenario is, I think, yeah. Sorry. So basically, if customer wants to grab the data related to only infrastructure, right? If he wants to ensure how that my infrastructures is look like, what is the attribute, what is the things available related to my CIS, that comes horizontal discovery, right? But if customer specifically ask a requirement where customer says, I just want to see the complete information for particular service, right? So if he wants to ensure how that particular service configurations or the CI looks like, that comes under service mapping or top to down discovery, right? So let me share my screen and showcase you.
Sure, Ajay.
Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, Ajay, we can able to see.
So I'm going to CMDB underscore CI table from the left navigation panel.
Yeah, I'm unable to see the screen.
You should. Everyone else is able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, Ajay.
Yes.
Pratikant, just rejoin. That will be good if you're not able to see still. Right. So first of all, let me showcase you the discovery. So if you see, when I type discovery here, I can see these things. The discovery under home, dashboard, discovery schedule, status, and all, right? So that we called in simple words horizontal discovery. Don't be confused with horizontal and top to down. Horizontal discovery means normal discovery plugin, right? But when I type here service mapping, right, you can see application service, tag service, dynamic CI service. These are comes with top to down discovery, and altogether both are different plugins which is provided by ServiceNow, and both have different licensing as well and different cost as well, right? Now the scenario is, I have a requirement as an IT architecture in my organizations to ensure my all CIS, which is available in my network infrastructures or data centers, that is available in ServiceNow with discovery, or I'm able to see the complete informations about it, right? So discovery source is there. I'm just adding for you guys. Let me do group by. So if you see, there are a couple of discovery source available, right? So one is manual entry, which is obviously, using the transfer maps, we have updated the records. One is ServiceNow, which is coming from ServiceNow discovery. But there are others like ACC visibility, that is up, agent client collector, that is coming from the event management. So they just define a source, how the data is coming in ServiceNow, right? And they just try to track that particular one. But if we are talking about what data coming from ServiceNow discovery, we have to be take care about the discovery source ServiceNow, right? And I just let me open a record which is belongs to a computer. Let me open this one. See, so that record which you are able to see, that name, asset tag, and all other informations, that is coming from horizontal discovery. So first we are going to discover that device through the horizontal discovery, and after that only we are able to do the top to down discovery or the service mapping on top of it. Till the time, if we have not completed normal discovery or horizontal discovery, we are not able to do the service mapping or top to down discovery, right? So to proceeding top to down discovery or service mapping, we required horizontal discovery in the first place, right? So here we are able to discover that one, and it will just quickly showcase you the dependency. I just click here in the show dependency map. So let me see if nothing is there. It's just a computer because it's a raw data, but it's just a computer where nothing is available. Here, in different ways you can change the group basically, but if you want to add, we can also, maximize that particular levels of mapping if we want to see, right? So there is nothing is as of now available on that particular machine, and that's why you're not able to see anything, any relationships or any map or any dependency. Again, this is comes with the service or horizontal discovery itself or normal discovery itself. That is not related to anyhow top to down discovery or service mapping, right? Now let me showcase you the service mapping example one. You are able to see that is covered. You are able to get that informations with the normal discovery. In the service mapping, you are able to see this type of example or the top to down discovery. I hope you are getting my point when I'm talking about service. Service is nothing. Service is only which service is only which is, providing any, in simple words, if I say any support to our end users. Like let me take an example here. You are working in an IT organization, right? Might be your company is providing a food, right? So that they are providing a food service to you to take a food. If you are not able to go or eat, or if you have any complaint, you can raise complaint on that food, right? So you don't like that particular service which they're providing to you, right? The same way you got your laptop and your laptop is not working or hardware is not working or whatever, right? So that service which they are providing to you, that is impacting, right? The same way in application service, what we call whatever that critical informations we are exposed to our customer which is using, or end users which using through a mobile application or a web URL or whatever, which helping out to their life streamline. If that is not working, now we have to identify why it's not working. What is the reason behind it? Then service mapping comes in the picture basically, right? Where we can dig down where is what is the issue and where is the issue basically, right? So let me see why it's not opening to view map. Let me try something else. Somehow it's not opening. Why?
I think you have to give the entry point,
I
if I'm
agree.
not wrong.
All right, I'm just looking if someone have entry points, because I can see that is there. We don't have entry points, right? Oh my bad. It's a demo data basically, no? That's why. Let me create something example right away. I'm just putting a web application. So let me go to select different type. Basically, you know, here in normal discovery, how you are discover? You are discovering through a IP address. Okay, this is my IP address for Windows Server, Linux server, network device, whatever, right? You are just going and discovering that particular device. And once you discover, that will be create a record in CMDB CI computer table with their attribute and relationships or in whatever table, right? The same way, when you are going to do service mapping or top to down discovery, you have to be provide a name, owner, or a URL. What type of application it is? Basically, that works for applications, right? So it's a web application, Microsoft Exchange, or Citrix Gen app, Microsoft SharePoint, Microsoft Bridgetalk, or it's a generic application. So let's take an example. It's a web application. If it is a web application, what will be that, right? So here, that can be a on running on it's a web applications might be running on HTTP or HTTPS, right? So I need to be provide that on which or where it is running. So HTTPS, let me provide that. I'm just putting in simple words test.com, right? Let me add this one. Okay, now I just click on the view map. Invalid service. Okay, it's already exist. Ah, my bad. Let me do. Let me modify this one. Okay, just map is loading. So here, as I mentioned again, we are discovering the components in the horizontal way, in horizontal layer. Whatever running on the CI, we are discovering. Here we are discovering uh, in different way. Basically, we are discovering top to down. So that's why we are using entry point. We are not using IP address specifically, because we can easily find out using the service mapping or top to down discovery with this particular endpoint what CI are associated with that, right? So means it's connecting to load balancer, it connecting to physical, it's connecting to web server, it's connecting to database, it's connecting to something else, right? So you are able to find out that particular informations here that we are doing in the service mapping. I hope it's able now. It's you are little bit able to clear your thoughts. I think something is there, right? It's a dynamic CI group. See, so here just an example here. It's an entry point. It's a non-prod service where they just added manual entry point, and that particular service is going to be connect with this particular CI, in simple words, right? And that is also going to be connected with the so on other devices as well, right? So using that particular services or service mapping or top-down discovery, you are easily able to find out if is there any issue running on any device, basically. I hope it makes sense to you guys. Yes. Someone raise hand.
Yeah, Ajay. This is Eklavya. Considering this is the example which we are doing with the perspective of service mapping and services, like for the discovery, we have devices and we have the set IP addresses and all, which we can ping telnet to see that we are able to reach, and then we just on the best practices, like we start including them and doing the discovery. What would be the best way? Say example, I have a Zen Fourth, application example. It is just only example. Zen Fourth is an application, and I want to include that in my service mapping. What would be the best case scenarios from where we can start? Just to ensure that yes, when we are including it on the map, it will definitely get mapped and start showcasing it, whatever things are there.
Right now, if I let me ask you, because I don't know what is Zenfood, first of all, right? So
No, I mean, just I said
and
example.
I'm coming to that point. So let's take an example. I don't know what is Zenfood, right? So if you want to be, you are coming to me as a customer and ask me, Ajay, I have Zenfood application and I want to do service mapping for that, right? So my first question will be what type of application it is, how that application is going to be exposed or used by end users or your customers or your stakeholders. Because I try to understand first of all, because Gen 4, again, it's a logical name. You know, whatever the same way, let me give a simple example that can be possible on the same thing. I can put my name, right? So right, it's logical component, right? So
Yes.
might be I worked on it earlier, but you just calling in different name Gen 4th, or might be it's end of the day it's in Microsoft Teams application in the backend,
Yeah.
right? I know Microsoft Team, but you just mentioned no, it's a Gen 4th application, but end of the day it's connecting to Microsoft servers or Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Office, whatever, right? So I am trying to understand what is the entry point of it, how that your customers is accessing that one, right? It is in URL based, HTTPS, it is in a mobile application based, it is Citrix Gen app based, what type of it is, right? I will try that information from you. If you are able to provide me that information, my next question is trying to understand on which devices that is connected, means on which application servers or database servers that is running, basically, right? What type of, means it's a Java based application, it's a Apache servers or application servers or Tomcat application server, whatever, what is in backend, which on which that application is running on it, right? So I'm with that informations, and then we'll see, is this possible to discover if already that particular devices are discovered, right? Which is component of that particular service maps, right? So I can say yes, it is, yes, I'm able to discover it. If it is not discovered, might be I have to create a custom pattern on it, right? So I can think about it, how I can discover using the custom patterns, right? Now what I feel, first of all, you have to be, or everyone have to understand, one CI means it's just a laptop. Example, I'm just giving a simple example. You have your laptop, sorry, and that laptop you are connecting with a network. Okay, if I need to discover your laptop only, how can I discover? I am going to be discover using your IP address, which is that laptop is connecting, right? And while I am discovering your laptop, I'm able to discover your laptop configuration attributes, which can be, I just give an example already, which can be Windows system, OS version, CPU type, whatever, right? That are the configuration attribute I'm able to discover. Also, I'm able to discover the network adapters, storage devices, if it is connected, file systems, which is your drives, basically, software is installed, whatever the software installed on it, running app processes, serial numbers, whatever, right? So I'm able to discover those things. Now you mentioned as I have installed these particular softwares, okay, I'm able to discover it. But if you also installed some now in different in the same word with whatever the softwares we are using in our laptop, we sometimes we call the application, right? Teams application I'm using. You are not saying team software I'm using, right? But end of the day, that are the same application or software which is you are installing in your machine is the same, right? So you, and if you install some new software or new application, and might be that is not discoverable by ServiceNow, in that case we have to be design custom patterns, custom classifications, so I can classify what data or which type of application is running on your device, and then I can make a relationship with this particular device to showcase here. So I can easily understand this is running on it, right? The same way, if any database application running on it, any web application running on it, any application is running on it, your machine, I can discover and I can make a relationship with your this particular computer or this particular device, and you can easily identify it, that is the application which is running on it my device. End of the day, everything is going to in a different table. So if I just quickly showcase you cmdbc underscore appl dot list, these are the applications: alert pressing, Apache Linux, CVC demo, event management, exchange, right? So let me open this one just to quickly showcase you. This is the application which is running on these two servers, Iron Mail SD1 and Iron Mail SD2, right? Let me open the dependency map just to, now you can see. I hope it will help you. So this is my email server, Exchange SD05. Sorry, here. This is my email server, Iron Mail on this, and these two servers are going to be connected with this server, and this server is going to be connected on top of it. Mass storage running, and now here what they did it, they just manually created the relationships which service they are connecting, or on top of it which service is going to be used it, right? So they put it email as in a service, but on top of it on email what type of service is there, right? So someone is using from Outlook web address, someone is using from BlackBerry mobile devices, someone is using from Windows mobile, and someone is using for electronic messaging, right? So this is just a relationships which we can manage manually, right? If I just want to go to next extent, but this extent below one, which you are able to see here, that is out of the box discoverable by ServiceNow in ServiceNow Discovery. So that we called dependency map, and that comes under the discovery, not on the service mapping. It's very clear, right? Service mapping will give you that information, right? So you put it some entry point, we how your application, so you given an example of your fourth base, I'm just forget the name. So as I mentioned, I ask you how it's working. So you mentioned, Ajay, my users is accessing https.henceforth.com example, right? So I understand it's HTTPS, it means it's running on the HTTP 443, right? It's a normal application, right? Then I will try to understand, as I mentioned, I ask you what load balancer or what servers or what devices discover. First of all, I will go and try to discover those devices. If I'm able to discover, if I'm able to get that application which I just showcase you, email server and all, right? So if I'm able to discover or automatic out of the box relationship is available, then I'm okay. Everything is done. If it is not, then will again, I will come to you. We are not able to discover. Now I need to be classify. So I need to understand on which process it is running. How can I say that is running on some process, right? I will try to classifying that particular application in ServiceNow discovery, and then we'll create a pattern to understand what attribute you required. Basically, if you see here, then in application, we are able to see the name, type, category, version, TCP port. That are the informations most of the time customer required. So I will try to understand from your side while creating a custom pattern how I will get a TCP port, we on which port that application running on. It might be you will provide some command, might be you will provide some configuration from where I can fetch it. The same way version I can fetch it, right? So on that I will create a pattern, associate with this particular pattern with classification, and whenever I am going to be triggered discovery on XYZ server, automatically whatever application is associated, that is discovered, and I can see again in the dependency map. And when I'm running discovery, that will service mapping, I can see as a in this particular way, in simple word. I hope you are able to correlate now, or still confusing.
No, it's pretty much clear. In fact, citing a very good example, this makes sense. In fact, some of the time, the resistance from the customers, they themselves, not very clear what kind of application they are working on, and sometimes they say very vague answers. Say example says we have the URL, but we do not know whether you are able to ping it or not. So that is the reason I asked.
Right. So, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be straightforward to that, right? So I just try to understand how that is, right? Like customer who are managing that application, he must know it's a Java application, or it's a, as I mentioned, what kind of application. It's coded in the Python, it's coded in WordPress, it's coded in different technology. So I try to understand first of all in which technology that application is designed. End of the day, in simple word, that is a software which is they have just build it and just go to that particular machine and install it. Simple, right? Like you are using your iPhone, you have lots of applications, but you are calling that application, I'm using WhatsApp, I'm using Teams, I'm using Facebook. But what it is, it's a software. Now you are running exe or iOS, APKs, whatever, to
Yeah.
install in your mobile. End of now you will ask me, Ajay, I install it my mobile, I'm able to use it, but I'm not sure how that are working. End of the day, these are connected to databases, these are connected to the server somewhere. My chat which I'm talking to anyone on the WhatsApp, that is going to be stored, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that whatever I'm doing on activity, I'm sharing photos, I'm doing chatting, whatever, a group, creating groups, somewhere that is stored. That's why I'm able to see on my mobile. If it is not going to be stored, if it is not available in database, next day or immediately after a couple of minutes, that will be lapsed, right? So my endpoint or everyone endpoint in this app, end goal basically in ServiceNow discovery and all, try to understand what it is, how it is working, how it's going to be connected with the infrastructure. I hope you are able to correlate now. I think, yeah.
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 Okay. Any other questions from anyone else? Are we good? Okay. If we are good, let's move to the next things. And someone, I just forget the name. Someone suggested me for instance, so somehow I ready with the instance now. Okay, let's move to the next things, right? So my next thing is just to give you the brief idea about how ServiceNow discovery architecture looks like basically, right? And how that is connected basically, right? So as you everyone knows, my ServiceNow is a SaaS platform which is running on the cloud. Again, whenever I say the cloud, don't be confused. End of the day, cloud also having the infrastructures. It is not that cloud which we are able to see in sky, right? So end of the day, this infrastructure is also associated with that. The same web servers, application servers, database, everything is there, right? So we are going to be store data on the ServiceNow CMDB that in specific tables, right? If again, if I just need to be connect with that particular cloud, first of all, I need a connection on the port 443. Example, if I ask you, I need to reach out to Eklavya, how I am able to reach out to him? If I don't know, I need a connection, right? So might be I need a mobile number of a club where I can chat, where I can call him directly, right? But to get the mobile number, might I need to be, you know, gather that information from where I can get the mobile number, right? The same way, if I just want to connect anything with ServiceNow, I need to be enable the port 443 to transfer the data, right? Then second thing, what is happening in service in discovery architecture, if you are able to see, this is internal network, right? So this is internal network means customer environment where we are going to be place a myth server. Now let me give you in a different way. You have a requirements, you are going to be do discovery and you have a requirements we have servers or network devices. I'm not going to be beyond that. Net servers, network devices and storage. Ajay, you have to be discover that one. What my planning will be, first of all, I am going to be understand from the customer what type of network devices you have or network gears you have. It's a router, it's a switch, it's a firewall, it's a load balancers, what type of it is, right? Then I will ask second question is servers. What type of servers you have it? It's a Windows, it's a Linux, it's a CentOS, it's a Ubuntu, whatever, right? And then storage. I will ask that what type of storage it is. It is a SAN storage, it is a NAS storage. Who are the which OEM is the provider of the storage? It might be there are a couple of storage provider, HPE, and there are others of it, right? So who are of it? They inform me these are the informations, these are the devices which we have available. Next question I will try to understand in how many data centers your device located, in 2 data centers, 3 data centers, or 4 data centers, right? I will try to understand that informations and the baseline count of it, right? And then after that, my next question is trying to understand are that these data centers or the locations might be it is in cloud or might be it is in on-prem, are able to connect to each other. Means if my one data center location is Bangalore and one data center location is in Delhi, are both data center are connecting to each other on the network? Are we able to transfer or connect to the each other devices or able to transfer the data on over the network? If they say yes, that's okay. If they say no, we have all data centers able to connect, but except one data center, which is in Dubai, we are not able to connect because that is secure data centers. Out of that, outside, we are not able to connect to any machine because only whatever application running on the data centers, which is handled by the security team, example, or different teams, and that is only accessible from there. If we need to be accessible that applications, sometimes we have to be connected through VPN in our laptop as well, which is running on their data center, right? So I understand there is one data center which we are not able to accessible and other data centers are connecting to each other. So what I do, I will ask for mid server first. Now you will ask me what is mid server. In next slide I will tell you, but in simple words, mid server is a Java based application which we are going to install in a customer premises server on Windows or Linux OS, and it will act as a middleware where all data from customer environments comes to mid server, and then it will forward or go to ServiceNow. In that case, what is happening, we are not exposing customer devices connections directly to the ServiceNow, which is on cloud. Everything is exposed to mid servers, and the mid server is going to be only mid server is going to be exposed to ServiceNow to connect the data or to transfer the data, right? So here, if you see in the architecture, what I'm trying to build or showcase here, these are my devices. Okay, that mid server is designed or placed here. Mid server is connecting to in two ways. That can be possibility they are not using any proxy, they are using the firewall, so it will go to the firewall and it will connect to the ServiceNow. Also, that can be policy, they have some proxies. In simple words, proxies is just a network blocker in different world, if I say, right? So if is there any network blocker, so we have to be use that network blocker to allow our traffic to pass it to ServiceNow CMDB, right? Now I mentioned to you we have two all data center are connected to each other, and Dubai is not able to connect. Then again, I have to be install one more mid server in the Dubai data center as well to discover those devices. So at least we need two mid servers in dev for two different locations, two mid servers in test, and four mid server at least in prod. So we can, configure the mid servers for one location with the two mid servers with the backup or the failover conditions. So we can understand if any mid server is going to be down by any XYZ regions, we are able to continue with our discovery and other things. Might be it can be failover configuration, or might be it will be load balancer configuration under ServiceNow itself, right? Second thing, now one more thing comes in the picture, AWS, Azure, and all, right? The cloud, which CIs you have available on the cloud. Now there is also possibility customer says we cannot allow anything directly to connect because both are in the same on the cloud itself, right? So it's possibility I can reach out directly, right? But no, customer says no, you should not connect directly, you should also place a mid server in each cloud provider. That can be AWS, Azure, or IBM or GCP, whatever. So you can also place that one mid server in each, which is again going to be connect with ServiceNow instance directly. In simple words, if I say if I'm living in Bangalore and if someone is available near me, I can go walk directly and connect with them, right? But if it is uh, but if someone is living little far from my side, I will take some vehicle or scooty or auto to reach out them. But but sometimes what I feel or what people says, I don't want to be walk because I just, or some people preference is just go with that particular layer. They don't want to be walk or they don't want to do anything, right? So they will for small or 500 meters or locations away, then they are also going to be use the same thing. They are going to use a auto as well, or they are going to use a taxi, right? So this is depend on that organization's architecture, organization security policies, where and why, or and where and how many mid servers we are going to be placed. That is one thing. Second thing, my any questions in that one before going to the next?
Ajay, is there any best practice like how many mid servers need to be installed on the host side?
As I
Like as you
mentioned,
mentioned. Mm.
as a best practices, I am saying it depends on data centers, it depends on the connectivity, it depends on the security, and you can analyze based on the discussion with customer only, right? But my best practice says if at least one mid server in dev, one mid server in test, and two mid server in prod. So your failover, your redundancy, and your load balancing will be configured on the prod in correct way. So you will not see any hiccups or in any issues with that. Okay.
Okay, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Why you say it's like 2 mid server in prod, like for a backup?
Definitely for a backup, for failover, for load balancing, right? If again, if now let me take another example. If I need to reach Archana, and if I'm not able to reach out, whom should I call you? I will reach out immediately to Archana's husband. I try to reach out to Archana, he's not responding, right? Simple word. So if I don't have a backup, or if some important work is there, I will, I'm not able to reach, I'm not able to do that particular things on the time, right? And I will waiting. Simple, right? So that's why some backup is always ready. If my this particular server or the mid server is not reachable due to any XYZ reasons, I can reach out to another mid server and I can continue with my work. My disruptions will not there. My discovery schedules which is running, that should be run continue. And my CI should be updated properly. I hope you got it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just taking that type of examples, but it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, someone raise hand.
Yeah, Ajay. Ajay, you just mentioned that one in non-prod and probably like in development one and then two in production.
Mm-hmm.
Considering discovery part more focus or mid server more focused on like having the discovery and having these things like included in your production, wherein we cannot have updates that created and then move to production. So why we are keeping like one in dev or when in like a lower instance or so?
Okay, good. So basically, first of all, now you have to be understands the domains in your side, right? So whenever you're working, or sorry, not domains, environment, my bad, right? So if you are working in any organization, mostly they have three environments, right? One is development environment, one is testing, and one is prod environment. The same way we have ServiceNow three instances. One is dev, one is prod, and one is test, basically, right? But I see lots of organizations have lots of environment. They are using sandbox 1, sandbox 2, couple of have UAT1, UAT2, couple of others, right? But end of the day, in life cycle, if we are going to start something from scratch, we are going to be develop, then we are going to test, and then we are going to connect or install, or then we are going to be move out on the prod so everyone can use it, right? When I'm mentioning three servers, that can be possibility on same infra, on same device, on the same IP. I have installed three mid applications to connect with three different, environments, or three different things, right? So IP is the same, right? But end of the day, they are going to be used by the three different ServiceNow instances. One is dev, one is prod, and one is test. Sometimes customers says, no, I will not allow you to connect on their environment side. I will not allow you to connect my development servers with the prod mid, actually development servers from prod environment, right? So they have defined zones in their infrastructure itself. If any development work needs to do internal organizations, any application they are working on it, right? If anyone comes to them and they mention I need to do a develop an applications, so they are provision a machine itself in the development zone only. They are not going to be provision any machine on the prod zone or prod environment, in simple words, right? The same way for the test as well. So why? Because they want to be more secure their prod environments. that is not accessible by out of site network or without security and all. But development they want, because that they are just developing, they don't have too much data there, that is less secured, right? So they just want to be segregate in that one, right? Sorry. Second thing, you know it again it's depend on the security architecture. As I mentioned, on one mid server or one Windows server with the same IP, you can install three mid applications to connect with the three different instances. Might be security allow you, but sometimes security is not going to be allow you. Security says, I will give you one mid server in our development zone, and you are only accessible to connect my development devices for the testing purpose or development purpose, so you can ensure your discovery is working, because we have all type of device available there. Then same way the testing side as well, they also mention you now you have done your discovery on that one. The same way they are going to be decide, they are going to be give you that these are my test servers, you can do testing, or you can do your modifications if you want. So whatever is, it depends again environments on zone, which whatever environments and zone, and what security of that customers is allow us, and based on that we can place our mid server only. End of the day, whatever development, whatever test servers or the prod, that because we are going to be build a repository of the CMDB that's going to be populate on the ServiceNow CMDB, right? So that's how we are going to be aligned with the mid servers. Yes, still I can see even raise hand is range.
Ajay, can you bit explain on load balancer? Actually, what exactly is load?
Okay. Now, have you heard about you know executive role somewhere in your organizations,
Yes,
right? What
yes.
executive do? Or
Related to different executives for different industry.
right,
Okay.
normal executive. Not, I'm not talking about that executive which is starting role. I'm just talking about I'm just asking about executive means we have a in organizations we have VPs, we have senior management. They on that they are, we are providing the personal assistant to them, right? So what they are doing basically, so the
They are
person,
actually doing the work of a manager or whatever they.
right? So if sometimes because I we understand ki that VP is too much occupied with lots of things, we allocated a personal assistant, so that personal assistant will help you out to cover their work basically, right? So you cannot directly meet. If you want to meet, you have to book an appointment through the personal assistant. So personal assistant is going to be assist you. The same way some work of delegations will done by personal assistants. If any meal need to be dropped, any calendar need to be checked, calendar invites, what need to be expect based on the requirements, what no need to be expect, right? So and what they are doing, they are balancing the work of that particular VP, the same way load balancers do, right? So load balancers we can configure in couple of scenarios, couple of ways basically. One is load balancing, one is round robin, one is failover, right? Three ways basically. So in load balancing example, that is just for balancing the load, right? So if one transaction is happening from my side and I want to reach to a XYZ device or XYZ application, uh, I will, I will, let's take an example. I need to, I'm searching on airtel.com. Okay. And on the same particular time, that can be possible, lots of or thousands of users are accessing airtel.com, right? And under airtel.com, in thousands of users, hundreds of users are trying to search for recharge, hundreds are users are trying to search for different things, right? So who are trying to search for recharge, again they have configured something at their side. If one request come, that will go to the A server. If B request come, that will go to the B server. If C request come, that will go to the C server. But again, if D request come to the A server. E request come, go to the B server. F request come, go to the C server, right? So they are just balancing their transactions, so load will not be high. End of the day, whatever servers are giving that informations basically, right? They are managing in that way. Load balancer actually do in that same way, right? So whenever you are connecting through the URL and reaching out to that application, between there one layer comes load balancer. In whatever configurations you did, they are working in the same way. Load balance, if you configured in load balancing, that will work or act as a load balancer, means balancing the loads. If you configured as a failover, failover means every transaction is going to the A server till the time A server is not down. Okay, if too much load is high and A server is down, immediately all transaction migrated to the B server using the load balancer. And you are hitting the load balancer IP in that case, not hitting that service which is under the load balancer, right? So it name contains only load balancer, means where we are balancing the load of our transactions or our network.
Is there any benchmark for load balancer? Means actually, I want to know what exactly, what amount of load that it can.
I'm not a network guy, sorry. I'm not a
Oh,
network guy. That
got
should
it. But I don't have idea, na, that's why I'm asking.
right. Definitely agreed. Whatever I need to understand related to service now, I understand. But that what type of load, as I in simple word, I mentioned to you, right? Balancing the load is work of the load balancer. Now there are different things, different ways to do that, right? So you can do as balancing the load in the one transactions or second transactions, how many transactions, whatever, right? They have not put it anything, they just balancing the load, right? Failover, they are not putting any conditions there. If my existing machine is down, automatically second machine will up and will take it, right? And round robin is something a b something, right? So it's again on the configuration of the network side informations. Whenever you are going to be build an application, it depends what configuration structure you are going to use there, and that is everything is controlled by the network, and network admin I think elaborate more on that side.
Ajay, actually, I'm not.
No, no,
I
I'm,
don't
I'm not
anything. That's
I'm not going to be a friend. I'm very clear. I'm just trying to mention my thing.
yes, yes, yes,
Don't
yes.
don't worry.
No issue.
Don't feel like that.
Okay, no issue, no issue,
Sorry,
Ajay.
I'm definitely respecting that one, because my curiosity is always to do that, right? How, what is the criteria, what is all, but then I realize that is not my job. That's network admin job. If I'm able to understand each and everything, I'm able to, move out from the service now. I just need how in service now and ITOM, I just need to understand what technology they are using, how they are working, and end of the day, in simple words, what credentials and what port is required to be connect, right? Sometimes I need to do troubleshooting. Let's take an example, just simple example. If you are not able to discover load balancer, okay, what should you do? Any idea what should you do if you are not able to discover load balancer?
No, Ajay.
No, right. Let now give you scenario, or let me explain you. Like if you are not able to discover load balancer, you are going to be troubleshoot in ServiceNow instance itself, right? Whatever you are doing, like you are using SNMP walk through the mid server, you are checking the logs of the ServiceNow. But did you, if you have good understanding about the load balancer knowledge, Now I say you are network admin. Did load balancer team or network team allow you to log in on the load balancer and troubleshoot? Are you able to do that? No. They will definitely not going to be allow you. They will say we align one person who are managing or handling our load balancers. Just connect with them and showcase your error and he will troubleshoot for you. So why we require that knowledge? That my thing, right? We are not going
Yes,
to be control.
but Ajay, I am totally zero from
I understand. I'm definitely getting it, Pritikant, but that's why I'm saying, ki,
okay.
my, what I learned from the folks, which is related to me. Let's deep dive to that one. If it is not related to me, let's keep aside and just get that what information is required for perform my jobs. That I'm trying to say basically.
Got it, Ajay.
Don't worry, don't offend it, and I'm not also not offended. I'm just agreed to whatever you
No
are.
issue, Ajay, no issue.
If I need, definitely I will help you out on that side. Any other questions on that discovery architecture, guys?
Ajay, I have a doubt over here.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding this, on host machine, everywhere like network gear and server BIOS printers, everything is common for every host. Like, is there any changes in that also?
So come again. I missed it. What you are asking?
So I'm saying that on host side, we can see servers, networks, routers, and switches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are common on every host. Like, are any other changes in that,
No,
Ajay?
most of the time, most of the time that's are common, but on top of it, what is running that might be changed, right? So the applications might be different applications customer is using, right? Might be database are different, but as I mentioned to you, the standard database Oracle, MySQL, SQL, right? Standard OS, that
Yes.
host machine which I'm talking about, standard OS. You are using Windows, Linux, Ubuntu. I'm not CentOS, and there are two or three OS are there, right? But have you here? If no OS is introduced as of now by any organizations, right? If some definitely in future, if some new OS is going to be introduced, then definitely we have to be if we want to be discover it, we have to be the custom and things only, right? The same way network, I from last couple of years or I'm heard only about routers, switch, load balancers, right? Or firewalls. These are the network devices only, right? Sometimes network printers comes in the picture, right? So it most of the time, almost all host which we are trying to discover is the same for every organizations, but it depends how they are using and what applications they are using and what database and other things they are using on it on top of it. OS will be the same most of the time, and these are the standard. And if you see the cloud side, they are also using the same thing. If I just want to provision any machine on the cloud, I'm going to be provision a Windows machine or Linux machine or the CentOS OS, but on top of it, in Windows again, if you are asking, Windows have 3 4 OS, right? 2012, 2016, 2019, 2022, right? And the Linux we have a couple of versions, 6.5, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9, Red Hat, right? Ubuntu, so they have different versions, different OS, different configuration altogether. But end of the day, the technology which they are using on OS is the same. Okay.
Okay, Jay, got it.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? I think
Yes,
we are
Ajay.
time now. Yes, Shiva.
Yeah, actually, you were showing like one of Dell.
Sorry, I am breaking. Your voice is breaking for me.
Can
Can
you hear me now?
yes, now.
You were showing earlier in CMDB CA underscore computer table. So
Hmm.
one of the computer you have showed Dell, right? We have seen that there is no dependencies in that. So
Hmm.
ideally, if we are running a discovery, there should be an applications which running on that uh, Dell, right? So what are the reasons that no CI
That,
got identified in that case?
Del. Sorry, let me go back. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Close the all. No. Okay, let me showcase you once again. You are a little confused now, I can see. Yeah. So we are talking about group by discovery source. And under service now we have computer Dell. Now can you ask or repeat your question once again?
Yes. So here, there are no related CIs identified in this, right?
Right. As I mentioned, because it's a demo data, that is the reason there is no CI identified or no relationships identified, right? But
Oh, they wantedly designed in that way.
right, for now. Let me give you in a different way example. Okay, one moment. I think you are able to see that because that is it's a demo instance, right? And whenever we are going to be start discovery, I will showcase you how that will working. Let me group by class. Let me open some if Linux servers is there. Yeah, let me open this. Let me open a Windows server as well. This. Let me see. Here you can see on the Linux server itself. This is my Linux server, which is used by these services. On top of it, one application is running, which we called Apache.
Okay.
Right here. Right, so on Linux server, this is Linux 100, on which top of it one web server is. Again, this is a demo data again. It's not discovered one. Discovered one is completely little bit different, but it looks like the same only. So what they are trying to replicate here, Linux server have one Apache web server which is running on it, and then some services are connected to that, right? So main service is IT service. IT service, they have different services basically, right? Same way here, it's also used by this. Yeah, here I think it will give you that give clear information. That is a big one, right? So just showcase you. This is I think discovered, which I discovered last time. So here it's connecting to the network gear. It's connecting with these particular services. It's connecting with the storage, mass storage device. It's also have a database, also exchange the data with Windows servers, having connections, right? So you are able to see now. If I open
Yes.
dependency map, now you're able to correlate, right? So if you see Windows server have one database running Aura one, oh sorry, Linux servers one out of a database running Aura, and that Aura database is connecting to the mass storage device. And top of it, if you see, that is connecting to the three web servers. Again, don't think that is the real. Basic real means that is happening with the transactions basically, the independency map most of the time, right? Traffic basically, right? So they are connecting to that web servers, and that web server is going to be connected with these particular services. And here if you see that particular Windows server, uh, load bell one is also going to be connected with the network gear, right? So this will come, as I mentioned to you one thing earlier, like you can also increase the max size. Let me apply max one, right? There is no max, right? If I just want to go down to one layer only, let me put two layer. You can see one layer is removed from here, right? The service layer, which is top of it on those services. So we can also control in which way we want to be showcased to on our end users or our customers who are looking for the CMDB. We can also apply filters here. If I just want to see, don't want to see CI type as a database, it can be removed from here. You can see it's blank
Yeah.
out, right? So it up to us in different way. We can also do that radial. It what in which way you are able to understand, right? But my thing is I just able to understand with that particular way, so I'm using that one, right? Otherwise horizontal, which we are saying horizontal discovery, this is the horizontal view in simple words, right? So that is depend whatever relationships is available while you are discovering a device, that will automatically discovered and will create a relationship. And that relationship is not like that key it's showcasing in dependency. That relationship is going to be created in the CMDB rel CI table. So we'll discuss in the future classes on that particular part. If I just want to add one relationship with Linux server to XYZ, I can also create that one, and that also visible in dependency map. It's just a relationship.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, I think we are good for today now. Any other questions? Last minute, last. Okay, I feel silence is we are good.
Yeah, no question, Ajay. All good.
Yeah, sure. So I think, yeah, then thank you so much, guys. Thanks for your time. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach me out. Till the time, have a good day. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time. Bye.
Thank you, Ajay.
Thank you, Ajay.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.